ahead and start now.
So this is the QR code to sign in if y'all already haven't. Of course, this is the first meeting for the spring semester. Just quickly going through our team. Brittany, our president, she's currently bringing the speaker up here, so she'll be here any second. I'm Devin, I'm the vice president.
I'm Reagan, vice president of Intramural Sports.
Wesley, our treasurer, appears to have stepped out for a second.
I'm Margaret, I'm the secretary.
Margot also is making sure that people don't go to W205 and come here instead. She's also out.
I'm Thor, I'm the project manager. I'm Omar, and I'm the PR chair. And that's what it is right here. I'm the treasurer.
Please,
There's Margaret.
yes.
There's Martin.
Sorry.
Margot, our graduate representative. Kelly, our volunteer representative, is also out in the hall making sure people come here.
I'm Kale, I'm the teamwork coordinator.
I am Malika and I'm the
She's the historian.
He's
So-
the speaker. So don't mind me if I take any pictures.
So, for just a semester, just kind of basic overview. It's mission statement. Mission of BMES is to build and support biomedical engineering community, the university, with activities such as guest speakers and panels like we're going to have today, volunteer events like we're going to have in February, which we'll speak on, development workshops, team building exercises, and socials. So moving forward to Omar.
Hello everyone, so we do have social media accounts in all these platforms. So we basically post all our updates and flyers right in our social media accounts. So please make sure you follow our social media, and according to the point system, you're going to get 2 points if you follow 2 points each for every platform, as you can see in there. Next slide, please. And we do have a group chat, and make sure you join the group chat. So it's basically for people. If you have any question, you can drop it in there. If you want to have discussion about maybe BME class, so many of us can help you in that, and an open discussion. And feel free to send memes if you would like to. And we do love memes as officers. And next slide, please.
So if y'all paid dues last semester, that covers you for the whole year. But if y'all would still like to become a paid member, we've reduced the price for this semester since that was the first one. So dues for this semester, if you haven't paid already, are going to be $20. You get a t-shirt along with any of your dues. And if you need any information, anything like that, you can come to me and the treasurer. So if you have any questions, just let me know.
So as y'all know, we have a lounge. It's W227 right down the hallway. These are our officer hours. I believe they've been sent out in one of our newsletters. So if you need to reference it, you can go there. Monday we have me 3 to 4. Tuesday it's Wesley Kelly 3 to 4. Omar and Kale 4 to 5. Wednesday Margaret and Margot 11 to 12. Colin and Reagan 2 to 3. Then Thursday you have Malika and Brittany to end of the week at 3 and 4.
And just as an incentive, we have free coffee for you guys. You don't even have to pay for coffee. It's a good coffee. We have Starbucks. Okay.
Alright, so coming up in a couple of weeks, we have our teamwork and game social. It's going to be on Wednesday, February 12th at 7:30, and it's going to be in W205 where this meeting was supposed to be. So y'all can come out, hang, get to know each other. I know there's a lot of faces in here that I don't know personally, a lot of people that you probably don't know. So you can come meet people, hang out, play games. We're going to play games like Empire, 20 questions, 3 truths and a lie, teamwork games like that. Feel free to bring any games or any ideas for games if you want to play those. We're going to have snacks. This should be a good time to hang out, get to know each other, and work as a team.
Alright, so we're going to be holding a resume workshop before the career fair, which is next week on Thursday. We were going to have it last semester, but we didn't have a lot of people come in. So I hope this is a bit of incentive for you guys to get your resume posted, if you want to go ahead and attend the career fair. We are going to be having headshots and some pictures taken if y'all would like to, maybe even for your LinkedIn profile picture. And we'll be able to get those back to you. We do suggest you wear business attire if you wanted to get your picture taken. It's definitely not mandatory. You don't have to. It's next week on Monday?
So this semester we're having Intramural Sports again, and we're actually going to play 2 different sports. So starting on February 10th, which is pretty soon, is going to be our ultimate frisbee team. We can have between 7 to 20 players on that team, so there's plenty of room. And usually the way it works is you play once a week on a certain night that you sign up for. The schedule hasn't been released yet. But if you want to sign up for that, just let me know. Also, we're playing outdoor soccer later in the semester. And there's always a lot of teams from different organizations around the university that sign up to play soccer because it's a really popular sport for intramurals. The season for that doesn't start until the end of March, so there's still time if you want to think about it. Again, we play once a week on the night that we sign up for, so we'll let you know when that's coming. And we can also have 7 to 20 players. So make sure that you either check the box on the sign-in sheet if you haven't already, or if you are interested but forgot to check that box, you can come talk to me and we can get you signed up. And paying members have a priority for the team, but since we can have up to 20 players, if you have any friends that want to play, get to know BMES, and hang out with us, and they're not a member, invite them and we'll try to get them working into the team as well.
So we're also going to be doing Go Baby Go this semester. For y'all that are not familiar with Go Baby Go, it's a program that we're bringing to the University of Houston where we modify these ride-on cars to make it safer and easier to use for children with mobility issues. So just some updates. We have found families that need the help. We have the cars pretty much ready to go. And then also we have a space that we can build at. What we're trying to do now is set up a date that we can do this. And once we figure that out, I'll send it out on whoever put yes on the sign-in sheet for Go Baby Go, as well as on the newsletters.
So we will be volunteering with Project C.U.R.E this semester, and Project C.U.R.E accepts donated medical supplies and then ships them worldwide. And so our volunteering will be Saturday, February 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. and we'll be getting training and also sorting through biomedical consumables. And to sign up for that, that'll be on the newsletter. And then we'll also have an internship with Project C.U.R.E, and the application for that is on the newsletter as well. And the internship basically consists of both technical training and operational training, so you'll learn about how Project C.U.R.E works, operation, and then also how the individual parts work in the biomedical lab. And here to talk more about Project C.U.R.E is Jalen.
Thank you guys. I wasn't expecting such a big crew, so I'm going to give the ladies that. I'm going to give these with the backup of that extra part. Okay. So happy to be here. Happy to have found my way. Apparently I flunked finding the Village campus. So thanks for having me. Great to see a big crew of you here. Almost brought my son with me. He just graduated from Penn State with a BME mechanical engineering background. So I'm listening to this stuff, hearing great things. Get your headshots done now, okay? I'll be the mom and tell you, get your haircut, look good, look like real professionals, and go get your headshots done and get ready. We just went through the whole grad school application process thing, fixing up his resume, clicking into his LinkedIn page and stuff. So all of these things we're doing are awesome, so kudos to your office because we're being there for you guys. So I am here with Project C.U.R.E Houston. Can you guys queue up the Project C.U.R.E website so we can do the video maybe? Figured we were technology, so go to projectcure.org and hit 2019 video. So we are an organization that's been around for 30 years. We are the largest organization that sends donated medical equipment and supplies to resource-limited countries. There's a lot of people who donate medical supplies within the countries we serve. There's 137, 138 of them, but we are designated as the largest. One thing that's unique about us is we require that before we send medical equipment to a country, we have to physically go in and see them, hands-on, talk to the Minister of Health, see the physical clinic, talk to the doctors, make sure they need it. Because it's real easy to call up and say, hey, I'm a really good guy, I'm in the middle of, you don't know us at Stan, and you should send us some stuff, right? But we're sending them very valuable equipment that can save lives, and we want to make sure it gets to the people who need it, and then ultimately what we send to them, number one, works, and number two, is appropriate for them. If I'm in the middle of an Army-based campus and it's all men and there's not a woman in sight, there's no point in me sending maternity care stuff, right? Likewise, if I'm in a maternity facility and they never touched cardiac, they never saw a cardiologist, nobody knows how to use a defibrillator, why would I send that when I could send it to someone else in need? So how we get our stuff is we go forward into the medical community, into the hospitals, the clinics, the doctor's offices, into people's homes that use home care equipment, and we collect the things when they no longer need them. Sometimes those things are in great working shape. Sometimes they need a little bit of help. Sometimes we have to take 3 things and turn them into 2 and steal some parts. Sometimes we go and get something and we're like, this is the first one we have ever seen like this. We have to research it and fix it. So Project C.U.R.E. operates on an eeny-weeny budget. It's actually 1.9% of our gift in kind donations. It makes us very, very efficient, but it doesn't give us a lot of paid staff. So we have 30,000 volunteers who all work together to get this stuff we collect ready and available for us to match up when we go in country and determine what the need is, and then get it ready to ship it out. So all those things that get with us, let's say it's a vital sign monitor, needs to come in and at the very least be cleaned and have a checkout and make sure it functions before we take the time to use up the cargo container space and a donor's funding to send it somewhere, right? There's no point in sending them something that gets there and they go, well, this is great, it doesn't work. Or this is great, except we have no way to plug it in. So we make that match. Now, the cool thing for you guys about Project C.U.R.E. is that basically we are changing people's lives every single day. We're going into communities that have very little or no medical care and providing them and their medical professionals the ability to treat their patients. Really cool. I mean, it's hard for us to think of living in this country and getting sick and going to a hospital that has no bed, right? Would you ever think that would happen to you? Now maybe some of you who have come from other countries go, yeah, I could see that. But here you think, yep, I'm just gonna go to Doc in the Box around the corner or go to the ER and I'm gonna get a bed, right? You never think about that fundamental, but many of these places don't have beds, let alone the other equipment that anybody needs to treat them. So how you guys can get involved is number one, you're gonna get involved with hands-on things that you can say, when the picture comes back on Facebook and you see stuff landing in country, you go, wow, I wrapped that machine up. That's pretty cool. We load 40-foot cargo containers full of equipment, supplies, everything as tiny as a Band-Aid, in-betweens like syringes and vital sign monitors, all the way up to anesthesia machines and beds and stuff like that. We load it on a cargo container. You can be part of that process. That means when you come to Project C.U.R.E., I can guarantee you no matter what you do, no matter what day it is, you're gonna save somebody's life before you go, okay? So you can come in just from a fundamental non-BME standpoint and do that service, global good, right? As a BME, you guys aren't techs, right? You're engineers. You're looking for different things. You want to design devices, or you want to manage engineering teams, or you want to go to grad school. Some of you may want to go to med school, right? You have all other different things. You're probably not getting a biomedical engineering degree to say, wow, I really want to fix medical devices. It's not what you do. However, as you come in and you learn, you'll see the equipment. You'll see what you like and what appeals to you, right? You will learn about the major medical manufacturers. If I have to talk about, my son is Alex, if I have to talk about Alex and say, where did Alex apply? You guys probably know the names. Who's the major manufacturers in medical devices? Give me a few, throw them out.
Medtronic.
Ooh, they must have been recruiting. Who else?
Well, Abbott's.
Band-Aid.
Well, okay, well give me one at a time.
National Instruments.
Natural Instruments, who else?
Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson & Johnson, who else?
Medtronic's
Med-
the one I know.
Medtronic's the big one that everybody likes to say they've been recruiting.
Boston Scientific.
Boston Scientific, who else? Steris? Abcam, yeah, or Abbott.
Intam.
Hmm?
Intam.
Intam I'm not familiar with, but I'm gonna take you as being right.
Stryker.
Stryker, absolutely, right? GE, right? Hillrom, right? All of those guys and their myriad of things. GE is bringing 60 of their executives to Project C.U.R.E. to volunteer on February 4th. Guess who changed her son's flight? Honey, guess where you're gonna be on February 4th? Schmoozing with all the skies, right? Hillrom did a project with their hospitals that once a year they give them a deal, like everybody gets a special price on beds. What happens with the old beds? Hillrom said, we will pick them up for you and bring them to Project C.U.R.E. In that 3-month period, that program with one hospital group alone yielded 925 beds. 925 people got a bed to sleep on because Hillrom did that program. Who are we working with? Hillrom techs, Hillrom executives, things like that. They're all coming in So you have an opportunity to work with those kind of people, or at least be exposed. Because when it comes time to apply to your internships, to know these companies, to say, oh yeah, I know what Stryker does. I know they have a division that does laparoscopic stuff. I know they have an ortho device department. I was involved with the Stryker kids. I know about neuro drills and ortho drills and stuff like that. You just don't see that. You get the technical part, but you don't get the what do we really do part, right? So hopefully that'll give you a little bit of exposure to those kind of things. Then we're gonna take you hands-on. Have anybody ever worked in a hospital? Yeah, what'd you do in the hospital?
I shadowed in the OR.
Shadowed in the OR, so you know equipment, right? You've seen some stuff, you sir?
Likewise shadowing.
Yeah, and haven't you volunteered with me before?
Maybe so.
Maybe, I think so, yeah.
Shadowed in the cath lab.
Shadowed, again, he's seeing all the devices, all the consumables, stuff like that. Anybody else? So see, look at that. Nobody, you go, yeah, I know I really want to be involved in medical devices, but you've never seen them. We're gonna show them to you, okay? And it's really cool. We have like 20 interns this spring, and a lot of them have come from like their part-time OR techs and stuff like that. So it isn't what you're gonna be. I know it's not gonna be what you're gonna be for life, but you're gonna see it and get exposed to that. We always say, what kind of engineers do we like at Project C.U.R.E? We love biomed techs. Those guys who have gone to San Jack or been out in the field and they know how to fix stuff, right? They're in very big demand. If you've got any friends who would really kind of love to be an engineer, but they don't want to go to school for 4+ years and maybe funding is an issue, being a biomed tech is a phenomenal career. If you Google biomed tech in Houston, you're gonna see a bazillion jobs. Why? We're the largest medical community in the world. Somebody's gotta fix this stuff, right? So that's a really good job. Those guys are great, but they need experience, okay? Number 2, we love electrical engineers. Why? Because everything plugs in, right? Electrical engineers can do a lot of stuff. Right now, I'm trying to get electrical engineers to try and figure out when we get an operating room light and it doesn't have the control panel that goes on the wall, can we rewire it and just put a switch on the OR light to make it work? Is it perfect? No. Will it work? Yes. And for us, unlike walking into Methodist or Memorial Hermann or MD Anderson, or all our beautiful and available to us very high-tech ORs, those ORs, a surgical table, a light, and an anesthesia machine. Boom. Again, can you wrap your head around this? In developing countries around the world, they operate on people without anesthesia. Want that on your bucket list? Not me. Why would you do that? It sounds horrible and cruel when you have no other choice, okay? So if we can get a light to that surgical room, maybe it doesn't have the hardwire thing, as long as it turns on and turns off, it's good, right? So we're gonna get that stuff ready to go and be good. So electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, because again, everything runs together. If you are early enough in your biomedical engineering career and you maybe want to toss in an extra 6 months, I would strongly urge you to double up your BME with a ME. It makes you so much more in demand, okay? Personal opinion, don't quote me on this, don't tell your professors this, I think that nobody knows exactly what to do with BMEs yet. They're still kind of figuring that out, okay? Do you go to grad school? What do you do? They turn you into engineering managers and all this other kind of stuff. So some of it's got to be on you to research around and see what you can find, right? So mechanical engineers. The last group I put in there is just plain old tinkerers. People who since they were 12 worked in their garage and worked on cars and stuff. Now would I want that guy working on my anesthesia machine? Not in a million years. But can they fix blood pressure monitors and learn how to do stuff? Yeah, just like you guys. Because you're not necessarily technical. You'll start with little stuff, blood pressure cuffs and stuff like that, vital sign monitors, pulse oximeters, and see how they work and work your way up, okay? So you learn that hands-on kind of stuff. If it's your thing, it's kind of fun. If organization is your thing and you've got that really crazy engineering brain that makes you organized, the one problem with biomed techs is they are the sloppiest engineers on the planet. They will mess up a lab before you can blink. So we need to chase after them, right? The other problem with biomedical equipment is everything has its proprietary thing that goes with it. So you make a vital sign monitor and you make a vital sign monitor and he makes a vital sign monitor, none of the stupid parts match. So we have to sort it out, okay? We went through 12 pallets of those consumables that come to us in hodgepodge batches from the hospitals to sort them out. Because if I have her perfect vital sign monitor and I don't have the thingy dingy that goes around my finger, the pulse oximeter, the oxygen sensor, it's worthless. I was in a meeting yesterday with Memorial Herman's Foundation, and there was a guy who went and served in country. He said, boy, were we a mess. We had to take children's blood pressure, and we couldn't do it because all our cuffs are too big. In my office, I probably have 100,000 blood pressure cuffs down to the size that will fit my pinky because they're neonatal. And I just went over to the guy and said, how many do you want? But somebody's got to sort them. And you know what? In a day and an age where everything is easy, we go, well, that's a pain in the neck. That's beneath me. But you know what? If you don't have the child-sized blood pressure cuff and you need to take that kiddo's blood pressure, it could mean life or death. So then tell me it's too tedious to sort that blood pressure cuff. If I have to send tuberculosis needles to a country that has date restrictions, right, and they won't accept the needle if it's in date, and Project C.U.R.E gets hundreds of thousands of needles and the volunteers have to sort them. If somebody doesn't sort it and it doesn't get in that person's hands, somebody's gonna die, okay? So why would you get involved with the Project C.U.R.E thing? I think it's awesome. We're gonna come to serve. We're gonna teach you guys about how to sort consumables. We're gonna go through our bunches. We're gonna get super organized. It's gonna be fabulous, because then when you come and you fix the machine, you can lay hands right on the part you need. All right, so that's the prep part. That's easy. On the other side of it, if you want to go into the program deeper, that says you are interested in global service. You are interested, we're all going to have this balance between it's good for me, but it's also good for the world, the planet, other people, whatever. You also want the component that says this differentiates me. I'm a consistent volunteer here. I always tease high school kids that volunteer in 1 billion places. I'm like, that's great. But these days when you went from getting into college, right? Colleges want you to volunteer. They expect you to volunteer, right? Employers expect you to volunteer, both before they hire you and after they hire you, right? What's going to differentiate you? If you come up with the story, you say, not only did I volunteer at a place like Project C.U.R.E or this place that whatever evokes your passion, you show history. I learned it, I did it, then maybe you traveled on a clinic trip with us helping with biomed, something like that. You can make a story about it that is really something to talk about. Because you're all going to be good, you're all going to have great grades, you're all going to volunteer at something, but what made you any different? You've got that kind of story around it. But you have to be committed to this, because if you don't put in about 4 hours a week, you're not going to be useful. Because if you put in 1 hour this week and 1 hour next week, I can't teach you anything that you're going to remember 3 weeks from now when you return. So it has to be something that you want to commit to. If you want to come volunteer, we would love to have you as often as you come. But to be part of the BME, we're calling it a pilot program, not quite layman, we put different names on it depending on what day of the week and what mood Janet's in, but definitely it's a pilot program, your initial people. We may set this program out in all of our different locations, because Project C.U.R.E has soon to be 7 locations, Tempe, Arizona, Chicago, Denver, Philly, Nashville here, and Kansas City is the new one. So we have that all over the place, but 4 hours a week, you can pick your time that when you're gonna do it. You can probably do 2 and 2, but 4 is a little easier if you're trekking over, okay? Sometimes if you wanna rack up a few hours, you might pick up a little project and take home some stuff that says, hey, go research this piece of equipment, see if it's still made, see what kind of consumables we need, and when you come back, go hunt them down, okay, and make it work. And then that'll add up to enough hours by the end of the semester. Typically our internships are 160, but I don't think the BMEs are going to get up that high in numbers, and that's okay. It's the consistency and showing what you did and moving you along. So you'll start and you'll learn general things about Project C.U.R.E, general things about the organization. So as you're working with groups, leadership capacity, right, you know about Project C.U.R.E, you know what we do, you know why you're doing what you do, and then we start training you in some technical stuff, then we start training you in some other stuff. But I'm not gonna lie, and as the handout we've got says, there's some dirty component, because not only do we have to fix the machine, we gotta clean it, okay? And everybody cleans. I just gave up on an intern because he came into first program, and I felt a little attitude the first couple of times, and I was like, ooh, we better watch this, and then it was like, I gave him some correspondence to do, and he didn't like doing correspondence, and said, yeah, maybe your internship isn't exactly suited for you. There's always minutia, right? And it's never beneath us, because if he wasn't doing the correspondence, I would be. And I got a few more years than he did. So I think it's kind of worth our time. So you're gonna log in some time, but you get to meet people. If you're in on Fridays, you're gonna be working with the person who is the lead trainer of the biomed techs at San Jacinto. If you're gonna be in on other days, you would be working with another biomed tech who will teach you some stuff. Sometimes you will be working with us, sometimes you'll be working with our computer system and following along PowerPoints, and I'll say, here's the directions, figure it out. Or we'll teach you a protocol. So there is some fun stuff to be done. I'm gonna take, real quick, is this the beginning of the video? Does it say video? Let's cue up the video and then we'll answer a couple of questions and then we'll let you eat fried rice and go home. Alright, can we kill the lights for a second? Is this a volume? Technical things never work in classrooms and in hospitals. Somewhere somebody's headset is playing all the bad audio.
Maybe electrical engineers in here.
Get an electrical engineer. What? Aha. Yay.
Most of the countries where Project C.U.R.E. works,
they would be defined as countries where people make less than $5 a day. At that rate, you just can't afford health care. So Project C.U.R.E. got started in my mom and dad's garage in 1987. My dad had been doing economic consulting in Brazil, and his interpreter took him to a little clinic in one of these favela neighborhoods, and there was nothing in it, and it really tore my dad's heart out. So he came back to Denver and was telling some friends the story, and then had asked for help, and one of his buddies had a medical wholesale company and donated $50,000 to my mom and dad. So one of the things that makes us really unique is that we always wait for an invitation. We have never pushed our way into a disaster or something like that where people don't want us. We want to be wanted. Second thing that makes us really unique is we always start with a needs assessment. Someone from Project C.U.R.E. goes to that hospital, meets with the doctors and the nurses. We walk through the entire facility. We make a list, 18 pages, and that's what really formulates our work in that country. It's all custom. It's directed specifically to the needs of that hospital. When we get that needs assessment done, we come back to the United States and we pick out the things that we have in the warehouse that work for that hospital, the most appropriate things we can deliver. That's how we fill those containers, and we ship those containers then right straight to the hospital. This notion that you can get bigger only at the expense of better is a fallacy. We are getting bigger and better at the same time. We're producing better loads. We are fixing equipment, and we are able to offer better equipment into the field. Our needs assessments are getting better, and we're getting bigger. We have a program called C.U.R.E. Clinics. C.U.R.E. Clinics is a program where we take doctors and nurses, medical professionals over, and we work side to side with our partners. These are the people who receive the container, and our doctors and nurses go sit down with them and treat patients together. I'm really excited about our new program called C.U.R.E. Care Trips. This is an opportunity for anybody in the warehouse to come alongside of these containers, go where they are received, and actually unload, put the boxes away, get the equipment plugged in, make sure that everything works, and make some friends in the process. So to keep this thing called Project C.U.R.E. going, we really need three things. We need all of the supplies. We also need volunteers, the people to come alongside, and we need money. You know that for $25, you can sponsor the delivery of a box of medical supplies anywhere in the world. The value of what's in that box is about $500. So $25 a month. At the end of the year, we will have delivered $6,000 worth of medical supplies.
Where's Mufasa? Where's Mufasa? So that's kind of all about us. More information online. We're looking forward to seeing you guys on the 15th, as many people as can come help out. We'd love to have you be a part of this. It's pretty cool when you think of what we can do with surplus that's being discarded from this hospital, these hospitals. So as you move forward in your career, whether you're in the hospital in administration or you're in device manufacturing, we have to think about how are we going to responsibly handle the things that we no longer need. So if you are one of the major manufacturer of beds and you have take backs, what are you going to do with them? Because those can be there for people who didn't have them. If you make ultrasound machines, maybe a certain portion needs to go towards social responsibility and giving back to those who have it. What do we do with previous generations of stuff? We're always going for the next, the bigger, the better. You know, when you have level 1 trauma centers like we here in Houston, a hospital can lose their level 1 status if they don't keep up with the Joneses, right? They have to have also the really good equipment. So all that's important to see. How are you gonna handle that? How are you gonna help save other people? Whether you're manufacturing joint replacements, and joint replacements in these countries, or you're manufacturing equipment, it's great to help and reach out. But we're taking this surplus that would otherwise be discarded and saving lives with it. And that's, to me, really, really amazing. We do that at Project C.U.R.E. 240-foot cargo containers approximately every year between all our locations. We do about 3 every month out of Houston. So if you round on Saturdays, you'll see a cargo container being loaded. You get to be a part of that. That's pretty amazing. And when you go in country and you see this, or you see some of the pictures that come back, it just changes everything for you. Today I was talking with one of the air rescue companies about donating ambulances, because we actually will put an ambulance on a cargo container. We take the side mirrors off, and we let a little bit of air out of the tires, and we drive it into the cargo container. If they were, I swear, if they were 1.5 inches bigger, I don't think they'd fit. And you drive them in, and you know, because you can get out the back of an ambulance, you can drive in and go out the back, and then you pack that sucker with supplies, and then you close it up and you send it, and they do it backwards. They take the ambulance out, and they put the mirrors back on, and they pump up the tires, and they have an ambulance. When I was in Calabar and I pulled up to a facility, they had an ambulance that looked like it was dead, but that was their ambulance. And it was kind of funny because when I took a picture of it, in front of it there was a motorbike, and I said, if I had my choice, I think I'd take my chance on the motorbike instead of that ambulance. So it's a great message to take to there's several of the air ambulance companies and the ambulance companies, and say, hey, can we have your old ambulances? Because what are you really gonna do with them, right? And then let's get some people to the hospitals faster. Let's get some mommies to emergency deliveries when they need them, and save a life of a mommy and save the life of a child. So on that, thanks for your time, guys. I know there's better things you have to do at night. I know you're all dying to go back and study. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so for those of us that are pre-med, as I'm more towards the pre-med, but more inside, like as a doctor rather than a technician.
Yeah.
So how do you think Project C.U.R.E. would equip someone in my field to better understand or better operate in that situation?
Great, and I got one of yours too. I got one that's getting her residency next year. See, you got the resident mom expert here. So for our pre-meds, we would tend to put you less in what we call clinical engineering, biomedical engineering, and more is what we call a leadership intern. Leadership interns work totally with groups. They learn how to sort supplies. They get more exposure to the consumables than otherwise. If, let's say, you said, all my life, I knew I was gonna be a surgeon, which probably guarantees you won't be a surgeon, but otherwise, you might work in the surgical instrument room or something like that. We can direct your talents where it goes. If you were gonna be an anesthesiologist, we have an anesthesia program. So I would say, if you are pre-med, definitely go the leadership intern track. Those are, technically speaking, 160-hour internships. But again, if you're an engineering student, you're a pre-med student, all these things, we know you do not have a lot of hours. Your internship does not have to end at the end of the spring. You can stretch it out. Once you have hit your number of hours, you're kind of official, but we can work that out. Anybody else? They're all like that, just shut up late. Yeah.
So what are the times that are good for like going into volunteer?
Great.
What are like the closing times?
Great, and we've got this, and so if you're interested, the girls, Brittany and Kelly, have the brochures here. Some of them have some details about that. You can sign up to register as, volunteer as an individual on the projectcure.org site. It says get involved, and then it'll bring you to the Houston calendar. But essentially, if you're volunteering as part of this program, we will let you come in on Mondays. Usually we don't let people come in on Mondays, but Monday through Saturday, about 9 to 3. But usually we are in the office later, so probably you can come later by arrangements. Once you get into the program, we can work out hours, but don't plan on coming in on Sunday, because they have to give us one day off. And we will help you work around your hours that way. But essentially, regular volunteer hours, like our med interns and stuff, the volunteers leave essentially at 3. So if you're gonna lead a group, you're gonna be there for either a 9:30 to 12 group period or a 12:30 to 3 group period. But again, BME in engineering, you might need people, you might not. You can be sorting and doing your thing and fixing your stuff and doing your research all by your lonesome or with other people. It's a good question, thank you. Anybody else? And just kind of show of hands, who thinks they might be interested in the program? Ooh, I love you guys. All right, so good thing to come and see us on the 15th. And that's 2 weeks until then. If you have time before and it's early enough in the semester that you're not quite busy, you can send your resume, send a little cover letter. You don't have to go to a lot of detail, just give me a paragraph, say, this appeals to me because. And because might be, my grandmother's from Nepal and I really think it's cool that I could possibly give back to people in Nepal or countries like Nepal. Or maybe you traveled on mission trips or your family's traveled on mission trips and you want to give me a little reason why you want to do it. And we'll take a look at your resume and we'll bring you in and tour you around. And also, there may be some of you who come in on the 15th and we kind of watch how y'all work and stuff, and we know who's kind of dedicated to it. Yeah.
So for example, sometimes we have exam season, like I know I'm coming up.
We shut them off that week. You just go, I can't come in this week.
Okay, so then would we be expected to double up a week before?
Nah, you can work it out.
All right.
You got mom there, so I promise I will mom you. And then likewise, we tell kids from here, don't go driving 40 minutes in traffic to come volunteer for an hour and then come back. There's usually something else we can give you to do. That's, if you need to make up some hours, you can. And we're relatively flexible. We just want to make sure you have enough that you get it. Okay, so like for example, if you were going to do a webinar and we're going to have you do the webinar or do research, you clock in. You say I did the webinar from 1 to 3 p.m. You clock your hours. Hours are not our biggest problem. Training you is our biggest problem.
Do you have to come in on the same day every week?
No.
Or are you able to?
No, absolutely not. Cool, yeah.
How far away is it from campus?
It was 25 minutes for me at 6 p.m. So it's about 15 miles, but I would not say that's typical. It was a pretty good traffic. It's Spring Branch. So if you drew a line between 610, the Beltway, 290, and I-10 and put a dot smack in the middle, that's where we are. Did we find a map?
That's far.
We'll be doing carpool when we go volunteering, things like that, but if you were interested in doing the internship, then you would be.
Yeah, you would be getting
independent
over
and you
there.
would have to drive.
Yeah, it's 45 up to, you can do like 45 to Washington and go the back way. That's actually a pretty good way to do it. But it's not a 15-minute ride. Anybody else?
Especially during rush hour. That's horrible.
Yeah, but you don't do it at rush hour. So, the bigger, your issue is your class schedule, right? And if you're in engineering, you don't have to go by the shift. Now, the med kids, the leadership kids, they're gonna have to be there. If a group starts at 9:30, you've gotta be there a half hour before to make sure you're ready to receive your group, right? But if you're working in the lab, you don't come in traffic time. You come in at 10 to 1, or, you work around. We're pretty easy, yeah.
You did mention February 4th is gonna be a special day, right?
Yeah, February 4th is GE, guys. You guys aren't ready for them yet. But, and there's 60 of them. It'd be really hard. But that said, they come all the time, or other groups come all the time. So like even our leadership interns, I said you should strategically pick, right? Because a couple of weeks ago, Martin Luther King Day, the residents and the doctors and some students from Baylor College of Medicine were over. If you are wanting to get into medical school, that's the day you need to lead that group, right? And then we have the other days that the kids from McGovern and the kids from BME do their annual services. That's when you go and you ask them all these questions. What's medical school like? What do I do? The days when the engineering people are there, when the Hill Run people are there, when the GE people are there, when the Stryker people are there, that's when y'all need to come and schmooze. absolutely. And matter of fact, usually I will tell you. Another thing we usually do for our interns is we have y'all do a little bio and put your picture on it, and we put it up on a rolling PowerPoint, so when those engineers are in and those people are in, or they're volunteering for other purposes, they see your information, and that's why we keep your resumes on file. Because if we see a match, if I see a match, because usually it's me that does it, I will say, hey, I want you to look at this. So, again, if you are applying to Hill-Rom and you put Project C.U.R.E. on there, they know us. If you are applying to Stryker and you put Project C.U.R.E. on there, they know us. And, you know, I'm not saying it'll help you, you gotta pass that Stryker horrendous personality test, but, you know, it couldn't hurt. Spoken from the mom who's been dragging her son here for, I don't know, 10 years. Yeah.
So just to re-clarify, on February 15th, before that, you want to send these
Send your resumes, yeah.
Right, so we have a form on the newsletter. It has a form and you fill it out and then we know you're interested in it.
Perfect. Yeah, and I might have contradicted. Did I screw you up? Because on mine I said send me your resume. So do it online.
Yes,
Because
we have a form
Kelly,
and
they've
then
got a
we
form
can-
online. So do your online thing, and come visit.
So do y'all have summer programs where we can actually go over these countries?
We do. They are self-funded. Okay. So our programs. My daughter did it at the end of her first year of med school. You look at the programs that are online, you see what timing matches for you or what country. Maybe you want to only go to, South and Central America, or you want to go to Africa, wherever. There is a clinic fee, and then there's a transportation fee. So the clinic fee includes your visa, your in-country food, your in-country transport, your in-country hotel. Literally, you will go with a backpack and your stuff, and you never have to spend a penny, okay? Then there's your transport. Sometimes what kids will do, if you poke around on our website, there's a thing that says fundraise. So let's say you're a freshman now and you would really love to do this, right? But you don't have the $1,500 it costs to get a flight to Ghana, right? So you can put up a website, your own little webpage link, and it'll say Janet's trip to Ghana, all right? Janet's biomed learning trip to Ghana. And you can direct that to friends, relatives, everybody you want, and they can make a donation into your fund, and it's there for you. And so maybe this year you won't have the money, but next year when it comes up, that can be used for your ticket or your fee or whatever you want to do, and you can apply it. The thing is, you can never take the money out. It's not a bank. The thing that's nice about that is if you meet somebody and you start talking and they go, oh, he's such a nice guy. They're not going to give you as a nice guy $10 to go to Ghana, right? But if they know they're getting a donation receipt from Project C.U.R.E., they know it's legit, they know it goes in there, it's a good fundraising ability. And that said, I want to plant one seed, because somewhere there is a really inspired student among you, or officers among you. How many kids go to U of H? 46,000, okay? Lots, right? Many of whom have parent alumni, our alumni, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But it costs, on average, to send a 40-foot cargo container with $500,000 worth of supplies in it. How much do you think it costs? Hush, because you guys know. How much, did I already say how much? Did I tell them how much it costs? Oh, darn it. Okay, $22,000 will move that cargo container. How cool would it be for us to be the first university that from the student body shipped a cargo container of stuff to a country? It'd only take half the students here to give $1. We could do a U of H text to give program and get $1 from every student and raise one. And you know what my odds are? You're not gonna do one container, you're gonna do 2, and you might do 3. Because somebody's gonna go, oh, I can't give $1, I'll give 5. If half the people gave $5, we did 5 containers. Cool. And then you could do a thing, you could send them out a poll, and you could say, okay, we got this country, this country, this country, this country, where are we gonna go? You could even do more, because you could say we want a country that's already has its assessment, and then that drops it from 22,000 to 18,000. So we got 18,000 kids to give $1 a piece. We just sent a cargo container. It'd be all over the Houston Chronicle, the U of H Gazette, whatever they call it. And how cool would that be? $1 at a time. You can't go to Starbucks for $1. And then the coffee, I agree with them, then the coffee's horrible. So,
$3 to go to Starbucks.
yeah, I mean, that is crazy. Who would give $1 if they thought at the end we're gonna send $500,000 worth of stuff? Yeah. Everybody find a friend. Think about it. It's an amazing project. it would be pretty cool. So again, thanks for your time. Sorry to take too much of it. I am available. My cards are on the brochures. If you don't want a brochure, don't take one. It's all online anyway. Digital is better. You are welcome to send me questions. Stop by, call me, visit. I will warn you, this week is a little crazy. I was in our Denver International Headquarters, and Wuhan pretty much exploded on Friday with the needs. On top of that, one of the most major medical manufacturers of hospital gowns recalled 10 million hospital gowns. So we've been a little busy, and we also have 42 containers in the queue that need to leave in the next 2 months. So we are busy, we can use you. I think you'll have a lot of fun, and we look forward to having you. And if you travel anywhere, if you're gonna go and you wanna stay in Arizona for the summer, you can also enjoy Arizona too. So. All right, thanks guys.
If you guys are interested in having one of the pamphlets for Project C.U.R.E. or Janet's card, I do have them. Feel free to come and get one of these, or the internship flyer as well. And then feel free to grab food, interact with us, interact with Janet if you have any other questions.
There's Bryce. You can take it to go.